Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There are only 8 players left in the tournament. 6 players left?
There are 6 players remaining with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches. 2 of them, at least 2 of them, potentially extended series.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Championship Sunday.
It is.
And it's time for Huck versus Parting. I'm Day 9.
And I'm DJ Wheat. And you know what? The PvP matchup has evolved so much, even over the course of the last 6 months. And when we get to showcase 2 incredible Protoss players, I'm very much changing my tune as far as PvP being the least favorite matchup. We just heard the stories. If you haven't had a chance to watch those games, put it on your VOD watch list. Naniwa versus Huck, who he beat to get here. I understand had an amazing final game.
Yeah, game number 2. It was a proxy 2-gate play by Huck, something you have seen on his stream time and time again. Likes to mix that into his standard play. And Naniwa did almost the perfect response. The best response to a proxy 2-gate, you chrono boost out 2 stalkers and go for the base trade. Your opponent has only Zealots. You have 2 stalkers and probes versus his probes. You pick off his main. And that's exactly what Naniwa did, except it was 1 stalker versus 2 Zealots and 3 probes for 6 minutes. At the very end, Naniwa had 1 Zealot and 1 probe to the 1 stalker that was at 6 life, took 1 wrong turn into the Zealot, and that's what let Huck advance to play against Parting today.
Well, Naniwa certainly took his nice run through the bracket, but Huck defeating him, now going up against a guy who did very well in his, only losing to 1 Protoss, as far as I know, Oz, during the group play. And so Parting leaving that group in a 4-1 fashion. Over on Huck's side, he went 4-1 also, and that, of course, meant that Hart took the bracket. So Hart, if Huck wins and Hart goes through, that's a potential extended series. Of course, DRG versus Marine King, another extended series. So we'll keep you informed as in regards to what's coming up next.
And there's a pretty interesting distribution in terms of the races in StarCraft 2. 1 Zerg, 2 Protoss, and 3 Terran in the top 6 right now. We've been seeing a lot of Protosses come out on top. I even remember Huck taking down MC in Orlando. This was fairly Protoss heavy in that tournament, but there's this interesting thing we've seen a lot in StarCraft 2 where if one of the races is really in the minority, we've seen that race perform really, really well in those final stages. So DRG is hoping to ride on that trend. But for this PvP here, we wanted to give you a chance to meet EGHuk. Ooh. It's your turn, Wheat.
Yeah, I'll recover for you. Of course, he's had a long road. He's won 2 MLG champions, and you know what? He's actually poised for a potential 3rd. First time in history that would be done. Can he do it? Let's hear from Huck with this interview from MLG.
When I went into the Winter Arena, I was looking to make group play. That was my goal originally. And then as I got farther and farther in the tournament, I just wanted to win. So when I lost, although I met my original goal, I was very upset with my performance. I don't think I should ever settle for anything besides first. I'm better against Koreans than other foreigners, basically because I train in Korea. I know Korean strategies a lot more, where other foreigners just don't understand the game as well, I feel. If you play on North America or Europe, you might see the strategies that I see right now, 3 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now. So Korea definitely sets the trend for a metagame. If I won my 3rd MLG before anybody won their 2nd, I would be pretty happy. I mean, as of now, I have a lot of fans, and it's really fun coming to MLG, so just having another and, being able to tote that around and, brag or whatever you want to do, it would be really nice. But I'm just here to play my best, and hopefully the game's entertaining, and that's what I look forward to.
Well, winning this matchup would certainly bring him 1 step closer to that 3rd title, but he would still have a long road to travel. We're going to go ahead and get this game started with MLG Tal'Darim Altar being the first map that we'll see here between Evil Genius's Huck and StarTale's Parting.
And it looks like the first map will be Tal'Darim Altar. Used to be a 4-gate only map, but players have become very, very clever with their openings. But it's still a big guessing meta game. Will my opponent 4-gate straight? Will he try to go 2-gate for the 3-stalker push and the fast blink? We've seen both out of both players. The one thing I'd be pretty certain of is that that Robo facility will not be making an early appearance on this map.
Go.
Here I go. In the top right corner. the two-time champion of MLG, whose name does not begin with an L. From Canada, it is EGHuk.
And in the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, hailing from Team Startail from Korea, this player has certainly been making waves and gaining fans across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Parting.
Now let's talk about some key timings in Protoss versus Protoss. The most important one is that if you do maximum chrono boost on your warp gate and you do a standard cybernetics core timing, then 545 is that danger warp in from a 4-gate or just a fast 3-gate pressure. But around 515 is when you will see the Zealot, the Stalker, and most importantly the Probe trying to do a big shove against you. So the big thing that these players are going to be looking for is some way to poke around the corners of their base to check for that probe, to pick it off, because the instant you pick off that proxy probe, that is when you are immediately safe. And we are seeing both these players do somewhat of a later gas, not as quick as they could humanly do it, but players are more than happy to get an extra 25 or so minerals to delay that.
Now, these two players obviously have battled through a very, very tough pool of talent, all of them facing several different, races, whether it be the Zerg, the Terran, or even in this case, mirror matchups. And I want to talk a little bit about control, just how important it is in this matchup, because we've seen a lot of these games actually decided quite simply by how well one controls those early units especially.
Looks like the big question now, will one of these players build a Zealot? It looks like both have the money to, and no, it looks like neither player will be going for the strict 4-gate. Now, Huck is throwing down that second gateway, and it looks like Parting will, what's he gonna be doing? We do see Huck throwing down second gateway, second assimilator. Parting has done nothing yet. Oh, now this is unusual.
Still no units, is he just gonna wait, Stalker? Stalker and the Chrono Boost going to throw one down on the Cybernetics core as well as the gateway for Parting, and then he'll have a second gateway go up after he begins production of that original Stalker. Meanwhile, on the other side, Huck getting that Stalker. We expected that, not really Chrono boosting it out at this point, but he does see this second gateway about to finish and does not see any sort of chrono on the Cybernetics core.
Now we're seeing Parting do a variant on the 3-Stalker opening. The 3-Stalker opening, for any of you wondering, is simply what Huck is doing. If we head to his base, we see him having those, see those 2 Stalkers getting chrono boosted for Huck, allows him to get 3 out quickly to block a 4-gate. Parting is doing an interesting variant on this where he delays gateways 2 and 3, but finishes them at a time, so that way he can build a round of Stalkers before the warp gate finishes. That way he can end up with a nice juicy 8-7 Stalkers or so right when the warp gate war begins.
Now we have Huck actually moving out with his scouting probe right now, and there is the probe of Parting. He's trying to hide in the bush over here in that tree and stay out. It will allow him to get a scout later on. We have another gateway going down for Huck, both of them now sitting on 3 gates, but a whole round of units out of all of these gateways before the warp gate research finishes for Parting. And the timing of this is going to be phenomenal as it finishes up with the chrono boost. And
there's the proxy. Oh no, Huck was doing a fantastic job spotting for everything. We see the 3rd gateway going down for Huck as well. He has those out, and in the unit counting station we do see that it is 5-on-5 Stalker versus Stalker. Huck starting to plant down his forward pylon. Parting's forward pylon has finished up as well.
And we're going to see these Stalkers here. Now the one thing that Parting won't have is he won't have these 5 Stalkers at the front of his base inside the base, but even a warp of a few Zealots could cause an interruption here in Huck's attack. His proxy pylon finishes up. Where is that first round of warp-ins going to occur? As we see several Stalkers out here for Parting. Looks like Huck is going to make his way back. Has he seen something? Do we already have a unit in there?
Oh, he saw the probe scouting around in his main. He knows, oh yes, this is exactly what Huck was looking for. Parting was doing a great job planting those pylons around, but the instant these get spotted, this is going to be some free units for Huck. This is exactly what Huck wanted. Parting, by revealing that probe, it backfired, and 3 easy gateway unit kills for EGHuk.
Yeah, and you know what? If he takes out this pylon, which was certainly, I imagine he's got to be able to scout for, now Parting put another pylon in here he did not check.
Oh, I don't know what my opinion is on this. Is this going to be good or bad? Right now, Huck is so far pulled back. This could be more sacrificial units. Right now, Huck morphing in only Stalkers to defend. Let's see how the probe micro is. Fantastic. 1-2 hits. Can he get the probe? One probe does fall. And even though that's a small victory, every little one counts.
All right. I mean, Huck has to know where these Zealots are coming from inside his base. Here he's now moving his Stalkers down. However, this pylon's really interesting because it still doesn't reveal the other one that is over in the natural, and it could very well be that, well, we're going to find out. Yeah, all right, there he goes.
Wow.
As he will go down, and that is going to be crucial. That means he eliminates, of course, that threat from within his base, and he can start to move forward. That also supply blocks parting, and that pylon for Huck still lives.
Startail's parting has the robo facility out. A big ingredient to these aggressive pushes from EGHuk is going to be the Observer. He doesn't have one. He can push. He can't get high ground vision, though, so Parting can use some nice Sentry Immortal control to still trap some units. But the question is, that Immortal, is it going to be out in time? There goes Huck pushing right now. Gets the Stalker.
Yeah, but these force fields basically preventing these guys from coming in base. This is a delay tactic, as that Immortal coming out will help a lot. No, he's got to be careful. All the force fields are now gone. We've got one Stalker at the front there. The blink finishes up. He's able to now blink these Stalkers back, and with the Immortal thrown in the mix, Huck has to be very, very careful about his engagement.
Oh, and there's the blink forward. Huck decides that now is the time to strike. Steps forward. The sentry count decently high, but there are no more energy left to do anything useful. Huck continuing to blink back. The units 9 to 9, even Stalker counts, but it looks like, oh no, the Immortal is going to pop out, and the key defensive linchpin that Parting needs, boom, it arrives, and with a blast, one-shots a Stalker, and Huck is forced to retreat.
Yeah, Huck just really, unfortunately, not benefiting from how far back this proxy pylon actually was. Any reinforcing Stalkers meant that he could not micro his blink, and they just took them a while to get back into the battle. Now, he did a great job taking out most of Parting's units. He's left with only 4 Stalkers and the Immortal, getting a second Immortal out now, and here these Stalkers come in. They're going to work on that pylon.
You can never discount the efficiency of harassment with Blink Stalker. Oops, misclick by Huck. Liquid's former team member Huck on EG now. Ooh, got there eventually. He now retreating back, lost one Stalker. Looks like the Zealots continuing to be constructed, and oh, EG's Huck planting down the Dark Shrine. Will Startail's Parting have that Observer up in time?
Now, another great thing for Huck's play is that he is able to expand, and, you know, right now Parting has to regain this ground if he wants to get an expansion up, but he lost so many units. Here he is moving a probe over, not quite even yet, at the 400 minerals required to put down a Nexus, so he will be behind on any sort of expansion right away, as we do have another Immortal coming out and then the Observer. So he should have something. However, will that first Observer go over to his opponent's base? Will he be allowed to bring one of those DTs in and have to force it back? That's really what I'll be looking for once that pops.
I like Startail Parting's expand play right now. I mean, he knows that he's up against Blink Stalkers. He could be up against some Speed Zealots, but not in any high number for about another 3 or 4 minutes. So just building Immortals and this Nexus is an extremely safe play. Likewise, EG's Huck planning down the Dark Shrine. He can maybe do some game-winning damage with the Dark Templar, but primarily he can get the Archons out to bash through, and Huck has built up a nice little force of Zealots.
He pokes forward and then immediately blinks back to do a count here. Sees that the 3 Immortals are there, and there we have the Archon coming in. There's the first Observer traveling right over Huck's
the
army.
Nexus cancel, the cancel from Parting. Huck already doing the damage that he needs, and he recognizes he can retreat fairly safely.
Oh, wow, and he throws down the Nexus at his front to block off, and that will actually give Huck a big advantage.
Wow.
He saw the Archon, and so he knew that there must have been some sort of a Dark Shrine out already.
The Nexus blocked. The best way to deal with Zealot Archon is to throw a building in the way, and Huck is going to be delighted to see that his opponent is that scared.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he's going to be able to take this out with very, very minimal damage. One of those Stalkers getting hit, immediately blink back once the shields are gone, and now just outside of range can pick away at that Nexus, going to force a cancel. Does have some observers here, or excuse me, some sentries here to go ahead and drop some force fields, but this is a very, very rough situation for Parting.
And Huck starting to poke, repositioning. Huck doesn't need to win here. Will he go for it, or is he just going to keep parting on the back foot?
Well, Huck is starting to add more probes here as he's up to 31 now to 27 of his opponent. The observer keeping a close, watchful eye on Huck's units. And I mean, parting right now just very, very nervous about what is at his front door.
I mean, so many players in Huck's position would have pulled back already, but Huck extending that as long as he can. And oh no, look at this. A Dark Shrine in the back of Parting's base, but it looks like Huck, one step ahead, already has the robo done and rally to his front.
Yep, observer coming out of there immediately. There's those charge lots coming up. The upgrade is being researched, just like you talked about earlier. And now this army starting to move out. The observer basically giving Parting the vision to know when that is going to be successful. But think about how delayed the Nexus was originally. Now we've got the super epically delayed Nexus going down. And Parting, can he bring this back right now? Falling behind in that probe count rather quickly.
All going to rest on whether these DTs can do some sort of big damage, but look at that DJ Wheat, the observer hanging out right at the front. I don't really know where he can even elect to warp one in. I mean, at this point, Evil Genius's Huck starting to advance forward, and that charge is almost done with the Archon. Those force fields are going to do nada.
It honestly begs the question of just should he brought out one? Oh my gosh, he canceled it
another
again.
Nexus cancel. Parting feels the pressure, gets rid of the Nexus, knows he needs to warp in as much as he can right now, warping in a pair of DTs, Zealots. It looks like he'll be charging forward right now.
Oh, he's going to bring some Zealots around from the back and try to sandwich this group here. Here it comes, the Zealots charging forward. The force fields do go down, but the Zealots already doing some damage at the back. Oh my gosh.
A huge set of force fields at the backside. The Speed Zealots, all the Stalkers from Parting under fire. Huck continuing to crush forward.
GG.
Good game.
I mean, just an excellent decision by Huck there, taking simply 4 Zealots and 2 Sentries around the back through the third, and then engaging the army. Of course, Parting throws his force fields down first. They block the Zealots from Huck, but then Huck not only getting his Zealots in there, but then also laying down the force fields to prevent a retreat. Had the Dark Shrine been done and there been a single Archon in there, maybe it would have been different, but already with a double Nexus cancel where, I mean, Party was fighting from behind.
Such a brutal spot to be in. I mean, that began as a really close game. Huck almost getting a little bit lucky there with that Zealot warp in timing from Party, giving Huck that edge. The 3 Zealots warped in at the start with the perfect pylon placement from Parting, but it was right when Huck was retreating, so he managed to kill it off.
You know, I like to play that what-if game every once in a while, and at that one point, the double proxy pylon, he warped in the 1 Zealot, which was ridiculously ineffective. Had that Zealot not been warped in, maybe there would have been an opportunity for that to gone unscouted, and, you know, eventually the DTs could have done a little bit more. I mean, the what-if game, but we got Tastosis over on the other guys. Guys, what'd you think of game 1 between Parting and Huck?
Actually, you just got me right now.
Oh my gosh, Artosis is invisible.
I don't think I've ever seen Nick and Dan more than 10 feet away.
This is awkward.
Look at how weird this is. Look at this shot.
That's weird.
How often do you see this? So I want to talk about the Nexus that he used to block off the entrance. That was so cool. I mean, you rarely see players make a move that's so expensive, but it's so crucial for him to stay in the game. He just has to wall off to survive. Huck played better, but Parting is really smart.
Yeah, I mean the Nexus was good for the block, but honestly, Tasteless, you know, blocking your door when a ton of zombies are attacking your house, it's great. The zombies aren't getting in, but the zombies are still outside.
Exactly. I mean, if the zombies are still outside, you got to run to the gun store, right? And then you got to keep getting ammunition and then going from gun store to gun store, right, until you can get out of the city.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, you got it now.
Okay.
And that's unfortunately what Parting did not do in that game, right?
Pretty much.
I speak in metaphors.
Artosis, what do you think?
Artosis, what do you, oh no, it looks like we're only stuck with Nick Confucius plot. Speaking in metaphor. We asked him what he thought of the PvP and he held up a flower.
I speak in metaphors, man. Man cannot play StarCraft with clenched fists. I messed it up. Go to the next game. I don't want to talk anymore.
All right.
With a clenched fish, you just can't play.
You can't play with fish in your hands either. That's just
guys, we're going to take a quick break, as fun as this is. When we come back, game 2 between Huck and Parting. Don't go away. We'll be right back.